So at the last Funders Forum, I looked around and I saw running clubs and cycling clubs and the broader community participating. And I saw them for the first time here, that maybe their organization or their whatever it is that they do may not be inclusive.
Hello, I'm Vicki Esses from the Pathways to Prosperity, and today I'm interviewing Audrey Andrews, the manager of the Durham Region Diversity and Local Immigration Partnership, about two interesting practices that their LIP has been working on for leveraging resources. Hi, Audrey.
Good morning, Vicki.
So to begin, why did your LIP decide that it was important to leverage resources for your community?
Well, like all LIPs across the province of Ontario, we began this journey by holding extensive public consultations. And through that consultation process, we learned that building capacity in the community would be identified as a priority. And our work, our plan, is grounded in the belief that we are all in the business of settlement, that we all share in the collective responsibility in improving the settlement and integration outcomes of newcomers. So when 10, 20, 30% of your population is from somewhere else, it only makes sense that business, education, recreation, the not-for-profit sector, and the service sector all take on a piece of the settlement journey. So, and the job of the LIP really is to ask the not-for-profit sector or the business sector or the whatever sector, what do you need to build capacity and how do we bring those moving parts together?
So what are the activities you've been using to leverage resources?
Well, when we knew we wanted to build capacity in the community, the first thing we did was we asked the community, what is it that you need to build capacity? Do we need to do more and better services? Do we need to explore governance and succession planning for boards or organizations? Do we need to explore policy and infrastructure in existing organizations? And if we're all in the business of settlement, then we're all in the business of reviewing our practices and reviewing the work we do. And as you know, no work comes without a cost. We also learned that the broader community was frustrated, I suppose, accessing some of the funding that was out there. So we developed a process which we call the Funding Opportunities Update, where we mine all the funding opportunities that are out there. We collate it and we collect it into one simple document that very simply states what the funding opportunity is in a summary statement, a link, the name of the funder, and the deadline, so the reader can quickly scan, see if it's of interest to them, and move on. This has been extremely well received and extremely popular. We send it out primarily by email, by subscription. We make the odd hard copy. It's extremely low cost, and it takes about 4 hours to put together, and we do this once a quarter. After about a year of doing this, we sent out a satisfaction survey to our subscribers and asked them, are you enjoying this? Are you benefiting from it? Should we stop? Or like, what's the deal? And we overwhelmingly heard, thank you very much, this is wonderful, this is great. However, we could really use a little more help writing grants and better understanding the needs of the funder. So we've been organizing Funders Forums. And the last Funders Forum, we had 10 funders who obviously stood up and identified what their funding priorities were for the upcoming year. They gave some tips on grant writing. And the piece that I think was of most benefit to the people that participated was we organized 10-minute one-on-ones between the applicant and the funder, so they could ask very specific questions about what it is they had in mind, whether it met the needs of the funder, so they could tailor their applications to ensure success or better make the case for success based on the funding priorities of that particular funder. So far we have done 3 in the last 2 years, and we hope to do another one soon. Key to that, and I know you wanted to know about partnerships, the funders were very helpful in all of this. They came together, we formed a working group, we agreed on a format, agreed on a date, and it was bang bang. We did one from I think 3 to 5 in the afternoon and another one from 7 to 9 in the afternoon, so that's a big commitment on their part. And that's a long day, especially some of them were coming from far, but it really worked well. They saw the benefits of this as well, because the quality and quantity of the applications were better, and that's what everybody wants to see. It was win-win.
So in your most recent funders forum, how many people came out to that?
Oh, the response was tremendous. We had to turn people away. We had one session in the afternoon, and we had another session the same day in the evening. So it was a big commitment on the part of the funders, so thank you. And I believe we were at capacity, so we were close to 80 in the afternoon, and we were at close to 80 in the evening as well.
So based on the fundings notification update and the funders forum, what have been your specific successes? Can you identify specific successes that have come out of these?
That's a great question, because I think it's important to first to define what you think success is. And when we did our satisfaction survey, one of the things we learned was that 80% of the subscribers passed that update on to their networks. We saw this as really significant, and we saw it as one of many steps that will work towards changing the conversation in a community. And that is a really important part of the piece of the work that the LIP does. And we saw that as a great indicator of success, that people cared enough to send it on. So that was number one. The second indicator of success that we saw from our satisfaction survey was that 42% of the participants indicated that they made grant applications that they otherwise wouldn't have. We thought that was pretty high, and we saw that as a good indicator of success. But the other piece that I thought was almost the most important part, if you believe that we're all in the business of settlement, was okay, every funding update has some messaging from the LIP that tells the reader why we're sending this, why this is important to the community, and to contextualize the update itself inside the larger agenda of the LIP. So at the last Funders Forum, I looked around and I saw running clubs and cycling clubs and the broader community participating. And I saw them for the first time hear that maybe their organization or their whatever it is that they do may not be inclusive. And that this was the first time that it occurred to them, and with a little bit of tweaking and with a little bit of process change, that they could change that. And I was encouraged to see I was encouraged to see the light go on. People don't know what they don't know. And it was, I thought it was a wonderful outcome to see the broader community do exactly what we hoped would happen, would be sharing the responsibility of making Durham Region an inclusive community. One of the other, the fourth success, I guess, that I wouldn't mind mentioning is that somewhere along this journey, you start something and you send it out, we send out our update, and you really don't know if it goes into a black hole or if it's being well received. But over time, we started to hear from funders that contacted us and said, oh, I understand you have this great tool that's being sent out to the community. Would you mind adding me? So there was a couple of funders, I guess, or foundations that we missed, and they contacted us, and we thought, wow, word's getting out. This must mean something.
So are there specific funding applications that you know of that maybe wouldn't have been submitted if this hadn't occurred, and that were submitted and were successful?
And that's a difficult question to answer, because obviously nobody's obligated to report back to us. However, we believe and understand minimally 10 have indicated to us that A, they only applied because of us and because of the update, and that we believe they have been successful. So yeah, that was after 1 year. So and we're into our third year now. So we're pretty happy with that result.
To what do you attribute these specific successes? Are there specific key things that happened that you would say made these successes occur?
When we did our consultations, one of the other things we heard from our community loud and clear was enough talking, enough consulting, enough researching, give us something real, go and do something and give us a tangible. But this is a tangible, this was a real offering to the community who gave up their time. So we have, we demonstrated that we were listening and that we are accountable. And we are developing a reputation for people who deliver. And that's important, and I'm sure that's part of the success.
Are there specific challenges that you faced along the way?
Only good ones. This is fairly low cost and fairly simple to do. It requires organization, and we're organized, so that's not a problem. So this really hasn't been challenging. I would say the only challenge that we've had is we're sort of getting a reputation as go-to people, and we're getting more phone calls than we can handle. Oh, what do you think I should do about this or do about that? And we can't always help people, but I don't think that's a challenge. I think that's probably a good thing.
Would you say that there are lessons that have come out of this planning and practices that you could share with other LIPs who might be interested in implementing similar projects?
I think it's always important to go back to the beginning, and LIPs were an opportunity for local intelligence to inform local planning, and we can't ever lose sight of that. You know what your community needs. The funding opportunities update and the funders forums are opportunities for your community needs to be met. So that would be one piece of advice. And I think the second piece is really to remember to contextualize the update in the context of the larger LIP agenda. So the success of the update, the success of the funders forum are surrounded by the broader work of the LIP, and that it's the collective effort that has been making that a success. Another piece that I think is important to share is that people are working hard. They're overwhelmed. They're given so much information that they may or may not need. Filtering information is a full-time job. And the benefit of the Funding Opportunities Update is that it lessens the burden of applying for funding. And anything we can do to simplify people's lives is good for organizations, good for the community, and good for the broader LIP agenda.